Hey guys, Grasshopper here, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be an Overwatch guide video on the new Hanzo, the reworked Hanzo. So we're just going to jump right into it. Hanzo is a defense hero. He has high power, 200 health, medium mobility, and then according to the Overwatch website, he is a high difficulty or 3-star hero. Let's move on to his weapons. Hanzo only has one weapon, and it's his Storm Bow. So he uses a bow and arrow for damage. There are an infinite amount of arrows to use, but a 0.5 second delay between shots. The arrows are arcane projectiles that can be charged up to increase damage and speed. Maximum damage in range takes only 0.5 seconds to charge. The damage charges from 29 up to 125, and the arrow speed charges from 26 meters per second to 100. The speed of the arrows were increased slightly with the recent rework. Hanzo moves slower when charging a shot. The best range for this weapon is medium to long range, but at longer range you might need to aim a little higher than the enemy to hit a headshot as the arrows arc down as they travel. Here are Hanzo's abilities on the screen now. His ultimate is Dragon Strike. This is where Hanzo summons the spirit dragon, which travels in a straight line indefinitely through walls and floors, and it devours enemies. Firstly, Hanzo does actually fire a maximum charge arrow that can kill an enemy before the dragons appear. This ult takes 1.5 seconds to charge and fire. The dragons cover a 4-meter radius circle around where the arrow was fired, and the dragons deal 200 damage per second. This ultimate is pretty easy to avoid, so you'll want to surprise enemies by shooting this through a wall or floor, or you can combo with an ally's ultimate like Zarya's or Reinhardt's. The ultimate is also very good at clearing out an objective from the enemy team, so you can shoot it onto a point or the payload. Hanzo's first ability is Storm Arrows, and this is the new ability that replaced Scatter Arrow, which is one of the first abilities to be taken out of the game ever. So with this new ability, Hanzo's next 6 arrows will fire instantly with reduced damage. The arrows do not need to be charged, so just pressing the fire button will launch one, and if you hold it down like you were charging a shot, you will shoot off a few arrows because it's rapid fire. You can shoot 4 arrows per second at the max speed of 100 meters per second, and each arrow will deal 80 damage. This ability gives you 6 arrows to use over 8 seconds, and it cools down in 8 seconds. The arrows will arc down at very long range, and they also hit headshots. It's best to use this ability after firing off a normal arrow to clean up an enemy or break a shield, as you can output 600 damage in 3 seconds. So that's the thing people don't use Hanzo enough for, is he's actually a very good shield break character. All you have to do is, like, say there's an enemy Reinhardt in front of you, you just charge a shot, shoot it into his barrier, immediately pop storm arrows, fire all 6 shots into the barrier, and that will do a little over 600 damage. Hanzo's next ability is Sonic Arrow. This is where Hanzo fires a regular arrow that does deal damage, but this one also pings an area for enemies and will show any of them through walls for a short time. The sonar ping has a radius of 7 meters in every direction and lasts for 6 seconds. The arrow acts exactly the same as a regular one, and hitting an enemy or barrier will allow the sonar ping to follow that target for 6 seconds. This ability cools down in 12 seconds. Sonic arrows are perfect for watching chokes and flanks, or just seeing where the enemies are set up. Make sure to use Sonic Arrow as much as possible so you know where the enemy team is. Hanzo's next ability is a new ability, and it's Lunge. This is where Hanzo can double jump and can change direction mid-jump. Jumping again in mid-air will use this ability, and it cools down in 4 seconds. This double jump is different than Genji's because it doesn't move up and down as much as side to side or forward back. It's similar to a Tracer Blink because you can use it to move in any direction once you're in the air. You want to practice this ability and use it to engage or escape. A lot of cool things you can do is you can climb up a wall, jump off of it, like use Lunge mid-air, and you can get up to a different area that you normally wouldn't be able to get to as easily. Hanzo does have a passive ability, and it's Wall Climb. He and Genji share this same ability, so Hanzo can jump at walls to climb up them, only up to 4 meters vertically. This, combined with Lunge, allows Hanzo to access high ground easily, and he can attack enemies from surprising angles. Let's move on to Hanzo's counters. Hanzo counters split comps, or teams that don't group up, so he counters Bastion, Zenyatta, Brigitte, Torbjorn, Junkrat, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Zarya, and sometimes Pharah and Winston. Obviously he is a sniper, so if anyone's off by themselves, as long as he can hit them twice in the body or once in the head, basically any hero will die to him. Hanzo is weak to flankers and team play. He is countered by Diva, Genji, Tracer, Sombra, Reaper, Doomfist, Widowmaker, and sometimes Winston. The reason Winston is on both of those is because if Winston dives on a Hanzo and is able to avoid being shot a few times, he can kill the Hanzo, but if Hanzo can get all the storm arrows to hit, Winston is either going to get away with very little health or will die. let's move on to the how to use Hanzo. The new Hanzo is used basically the same as old Hanzo, just more aggressive now. You want to fight at medium range to long range, behind your team or on some high ground. You want to spam chokes and shields with arrows until the enemy team pushes in, then start falling back. Use all of Hanzo's mobility options to get around the map safely. When the fight breaks out, you can either burst the tanks down or pick off the enemy healers or DPS, especially if they're out of position. Make sure you are in a safe position and your healers can get to you easily. Use storm arrows to finish off low health enemies or attack enemies diving you like Winston or Genji. You want to use the sonic arrow to check flanks or chokes for enemies, and then Hanzo's ultimate can win a team fight if it's combined with a graviton from Zarya and can force enemies off an objective. Without a Zarya on your team, as Hanzo, you'll have to use your ultimate in surprising ways to catch any enemies out of position. Overall, this rework to Hanzo has made him way more fun to play, and now there's counterplay when going up against a Hanzo. As before, Hanzo could just scatter arrow at someone's feet and delete almost any hero. Now he has to aim his storm arrows for the burst damage. Since his rework, the game has been a Hanzo meta, but I think it'll wear off and Hanzo will be used like other similar DPS for certain maps at medium range. He's in the category with McCree, Soldier 76, Pharah, and Widowmaker. Everyone needs to try him out and learn how he affects the game, but this was a step in the right direction for the game. Basically, a low reliability DPS hero with a bullshit insta-kill ability was molded into a mid-range assassin type sniper with engaging movement abilities. But that's all I have for this Hanzo guide, so I hope you learned something and enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and put any questions or concerns in the comments. As always, I'm Grasshopper, and I hope you have an awesome day. See ya!